Hi everyone. Today is a very proud day for an Indian. What Chandrayaan 2 has achieved made all of us proud of its achievement, which never has ever happened by any country on our planet. Chandrayaan 2 reached closest to the southernmost point, to the south pole of moon, a dark spot in the history of moon for the science, because no other country has ever reached that close to that part of the moon that has been unrendered and unexplored since the birth of the humankind. But what Chandrayaan 2 did, we are proud of our scientists, we are proud of their efforts, and it has been a 99% success. That's a big thing to tell you. But there was a 1% loss, a 1% decline. But where did this go? What was the cause of this? Let's explore what are the possible possibilities for which Chandrayaan may have failed for a percent of extent what we wished it should have done. Let's explore the possibilities why the 1% failure was there. Let's see. Starting with the first probability, that's a positive one. The positive expectations, what? That during the transition from hard braking to the soft braking, the signal transmitter might got burned. The lander signals transmitter might got burned, and due to this there was a communication failure or a technical snag that ISRO was receiving. And if that is the possibility, this is the most positive aspect of this, because if this is true, the lander and rover are safe, they are active, and as we know that after the orbiter separated the lander from it, the system got autonomous, the lander became autonomous, it will operate autonomously. So if that is true, that is still working, it is active, and its research work is going on right now. So whenever the signal snag is being repaired by it, if in near future, we'll get all the research work by it. Getting some insights of how the mission went. If we plot the same graph as it was going through x and y axis, this is the altitude and this is the distance, and if we see, this almost was the preferred trajectory for landing, if this is the landing site. And what did our rover do? That from the 30 kilometers above the surface of the moon, it got the same line that was meant, that we expected, but at exactly 2.1 kilometer before this there was a side juncture, and this unexpectedly it didn't follow the same trajectory that it was meant for. And after this point, that is exactly, this is 2.1 kilometer, it's around 4.1 kilometer this happened, and about 2.1 kilometer above the surface the signal got lost. And if this is the possibility, there is much possibility that the probability 1 that we discussed now is true, because if it didn't had any contact above 2.1 kilometer, there is many chance that it may have landed. Even if there was some hard landing, it may be possible that the rover inside the lander may be safe. Now, keeping in mind this fact, let us see the next probability. according to the third probability, that after the hard braking, the propulsion rate, the rate, because the hard braking process meant that the propulsions, the ejection of the gases, need to be at the highest of its levels, at the extreme level, so that the speed came down rapidly from 6 kilometers per second to almost 400 meters per second. So this was the hard braking process. The propulsion's rate of ejection needed to change before the next process. In order to initiate the soft braking, it means the speed had to be decreased from about 400 meters per second to about 2 meters per second just before it reached the surface, so that the soft landing is possible. And in this process, the transition between the hard braking and the soft braking, this variation, this transition, the engine might had encountered a big technical snag. And what does this technical snag means? Again, a burning of the engine, burning of the entire rover at the height of 2.1 kilometers. And the last, but the most surprising it may be, most contrasting probability it may be, but anything is possible. This might be the reason why we see a very distinctive graph of what the lander encountered, because you can see before this was seamless, that was as according to the trajectory it was going, and this point, as it something struck on it, and it completely destroyed it, so that it burned in 2.16 kilometer. As we can see in the modern lives, many countries are immune by, they all have the anti-satellite missiles, and they are capable to do this. If any meteor is coming down, we can struck the meteor at a height so that it completely gets burned before it reaches the surface of the earth and cause any damage. It may be an indication of extraterrestrial life at the south pole of the moon, because south pole of the moon has been always unrendered, unexplored, a dark side of moon that we have never came across. So the last probability says extraterrestrial cause. The south pole of moon always has been an unexplored area. Aliens, this might be there. The aliens might be the inhabitants of the south pole that we don't know about. The humankind don't know much about the south pole, and this may be the reason what the aliens have taken about, and they are being an inhabitant of that place. And if that's true, any foreign substance, if they see are landing towards their residences, they may get to it and destroy it. That can be a reason. The extraterrestrial living organisms, that is the aliens, might have shot the rover with the lander at a height of about 4.1 kilometers, so that it completely burned, because we get a very differentiated graph at this moment in time. The graph shows a very difference from what the trajectory was there. It was completely normal till this point, and after that it suddenly got a very differentiated graph. It might be possible that the aliens have shot it, and that is the reason why this happened, and we entirely lost the communication signals from it. There also can be a reason that extraterrestrial objects such as a chunk of rock, meteors, asteroids, they're always floating in space. If they might have crashed with the lander, it could have also destroyed it much before it could have soft landed on the moon. But from this mission, we have only learned and learned. We have done what no other nation has ever done till date, and we are proud of it. And one thing that many people are encountering, that this mission was a failure for ISRO. It's not true. The mission was orbiter plus lander that included the rover. And this orbiter is 100% successful, 1000% I can say, successfully established. And it has a spectroscope. That means it can do much more research than the rover itself, because it has 8 payloads. 8 payloads means 8 devices, big devices attached to it. And it includes a spectroscope, which can take the elemental analysis of the moon from this orbiter of the moon. And it will orbit moon for 1 year. So 1 year time can prove very long, and it can do much of a research. So this is what Chandrayaan 2 has been successful in doing, the orbiter mission, and at a very cheap rate. We are proud of our scientists that this mission was very normal. We thought that orbiter has been placed in the moon's orbit successfully. For Indians, we all thought that it's normal because we were more focused about the lander and the rover. But this was more as challenging because many processes were included in it, and we were successful in getting our orbiter into the moon's orbit. And that's a big achievement, and we should be proud of it. This lander was a 5% success mission, and it won't research as the orbiter could do because it has 8 payloads, means it has much more devices attached to it, and much more devices means much more research work. What the lander and the rover could have done and can done, because the probability one is still active. If it starts sending the the signals to the ISRO again, if it gets repaired, we'll start getting all the imagery and research work. So this 5% can also come into our hand. So this mission was a very interesting one for India, a very challenging one, but the courageous Indian scientists took the challenge, and they did it with more precision. They are more accurate than precise. If they would have been precise, the result that Israel received could have happened, but we got the closest to the southern pole. That means we were more accurate than precise. That's what we should be proud about. Thank you for giving your time, and cheers.